Did I get you out of your beauty sleep? I love this little Belgian. If you say French, he will hit you. Didn't you just forget one now? I did. What am I doing? Hello lovely bookworms, I'm Esmay from Paradise Pages on Instagram and also on Twitter, and welcome to a new video. It's been a while since I actually filmed a wrap up, but today that day is here. I am giving you an August wrap up. I have read quite a bit, I think eight-ish books I would say, and I am so excited to finally share that with you. It's been a while since I filmed one of these. Also, I'm wearing a sweater. We're going into sweater weather, guys, which means that autumn is nearly here, which means that Christmas is nearly here. What am I doing? Anyway, let's just get into the books that I've read, and yeah. Okay, so the first couple of books actually are all from the same series, but I'll quickly show them in order that I read them, which is the order that they were published in. They are all Dutch books, by the way, which I got secondhand. I think I mentioned this book once on our channel, and I think Femke also read them last year. But the ones that I read were Het Huis Anubis, The House of Anubis. This is the first and the second one. This one is also in the worst shape. But these are De Geheime Club van de Oude Wilg and Het Geheim van de Tombe, which is basically the Secret Club of the Old Willow and The Secret of the Tomb. And what this is about, if you don't know, there is I think it's an American TV show called House of Anubis that is based on the Dutch version. This is the original. And what the House of Anubis is basically about is we follow the main character called Nienke. In English, that's Nina. She's down there. And Nienke goes to the House of Anubis. It's a literal house. It's a... what do they call that? Basically a house where multiple children go. They're all in high school because their parents can't really care for them, or their parents are away a lot. So one of the characters, Amber, actually has to go there because her father is working a ton, and there are some other reasons. And Nienke actually comes to this house because her grandmother has to go to a nursing home and her parents have passed away. So that's basically where it starts, and then when she gets to this house, she has to go to the attic to sort of be, like, she's the newcomer, and one of them actually hates her very, very much, and to sort of prove herself, there's a word for it, but I can't remember it right now. She has to go to the attic, and there she actually finds a clue to a huge mystery and a secret that is hidden in the House of Anubis. And I love the series. I also love the TV show. There's so many episodes, and in general, this really is my childhood. I used to watch this for hours and hours on end. My mum also has watched it with me when I was younger, and I loved it, and I really, really wanted to read the books now because the TV show is now online and you can watch it, and I got very excited, so I wanted to read the books as well. So these are the first two that I read, and then I also read the third one, which is De Geheimzinnige Vloek, which means it's the secretive curse, I think. So that's the third one. Then I have the fourth one here, which is De Uitverkorene, which I think is the chosen one. It's not completely the same thing, but it's sort of the same thing. And then the final one that I read this month was Het Geheim van de Winsbrugge Hennegouwen, which is basically the secret of the Winsbrugge Hennegouwen, which is the name of the family that used to live in the House of Anubis. So, yeah, I read 5 of them. I still have to read 2 more. There's 2 more. I actually thought there was 1 more. I mistakenly said that, and then Femke pointed me towards the final book. She was like, didn't you just forget one now? I did. So I have 2 more to read, and I love them. It's such a huge nostalgic feeling for me, and sort of just sentimental values. They're not the best books in the world, I have to say, but I have enjoyed them majorly. and they're also not that big, which was really nice last month because I wasn't in the mood for reading huge books. So okay, so that's a chunker of my TBR gone. Let's just continue on with the one book that I don't have physically, because I did actually borrow it from a friend, but I returned it pretty soon after I finished it, and that is Nimona. Nimona, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, you'll see a picture on this side anyway, is a graphic novel, which is basically about a girl that can change shape, and it was so interesting. I actually borrowed this book from Cherise, finished it pretty quickly, I think in one sitting, and I loved it. It was so much fun to read. Just in general, the artwork of this book is absolutely stunning, and the story was so adorable but also so heartbreaking, and such a big plot twist that I really enjoyed it, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Alright, we're 6 minutes in and only, that's 3 books left, and let's just continue on with the smallest one that I have here at the moment, and that is The ABC Murders by Agatha Christie. If you've been following me this year, you know that from, I think, January onwards, I've been steadily reading Agatha Christie from time to time, and in general, I just love the way that she writes her Poirot books. There's also so many, I don't know if you can see that, but this entire row is all Poirot, and I love this little Belgian. If you say French, he will hate you. But I love these books so much, and I think I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. I actually at one point thought, okay, is this the ending? That is disappointing. And then there was a plot twist, and it really climbed because I loved it. Such a good book, and I loved the mystery of it, as I always do, and try to figure out how Poirot's mind works, which never really comes to a full conclusion in my head how that works, but we're gonna keep trying anyway. Did I already mention that I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars? I think I did. The second to last book is one that has been on my TBR multiple times, and I finally got to it. I actually got to 2 that were very long on my TBR this month, so that is really good. And the first one is The Girl the Sea Gave Back by Adrienne Young. This is basically in the same world as Sky in the Deep, which is her other book, which I read earlier this year and adored, which is why I picked this one up. And this is basically about a girl named Tova, and Tova can see the future. She can read the stones, so to say, and one thing led to another, and she basically got washed up on shore, and a tribe took her in, but this is not necessarily the nicest. They're not the nicest people. Let's just keep it at that, and that's where the story starts, and then you figure out what happens in between and fill in the blanks, that kind of thing. I enjoyed this book. Let me start by saying that. However, I definitely prefer Sky in the Deep, and one of the things I liked best about this book was the fact that you saw the characters of Sky in the Deep, which only goes to show that I loved Sky in the Deep, and not necessarily that I loved this book. That said, though, I did really enjoy the world, which was also the same as Sky in the Deep, and to a certain degree, I also really loved the characters. I do have to say that the sort of main male protagonist was not up my alley, though I loved that he was also part of Sky in the Deep, but a little bit younger, which I loved. Tova, I loved. She is one of my favorite protagonists. I usually gravitate towards the male characters in books because they tend to have a bit more spunk, and Tova is definitely not like that. She can hold her own, and she also doesn't care about giving her opinion, and she's very honest, goes for what she believes in, and I really enjoyed that. Also, I love the name. Tova is such a good name for a character, and I'm definitely keeping that in my mind if I ever get another cat. This is what I do. I basically just go through books and think, okay, this could be a potential cat name. Anyway, I enjoyed it. Wasn't my favorite though, so I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. 3 out of 5 is still good for me. 2 is where it gets iffy. 4 is really good, but 3 is just I enjoyed it, but it's not my all-time favorite book, and it wasn't necessarily outstanding, but it was a good book. So, 3 stars. By the way, one more thing I wanted to add to The Girl the Sea Gave Back, why the reason why it's 3 stars and not 4 is because of the ending. I really miss endings in Adrienne Young's books. It's the same with Sky in the Deep, but this one even more so. It's basically, I was listening to the audiobook, and at one point I was thinking, wait, am I missing part of the audiobook? But it had already ended and I just didn't realize. So that's also one thing that sort of adds to what I thought of the book. Can you say hello? Did I get you out of your beauty sleep? It's morning. You have had 10 hours of sleeping. We need more sleep. We're grandma. Alright, so there's one more book left on my wrap-up. I wanted to say TBR because I barely film wrap-ups, but it's a wrap-up. I finished it. And that is, I think, the book that I've loved most this month, and that is Warrior of the Wild by Tricia Levenseller. I have read all her other books, from Daughter of the Pirate King, Daughter of the Siren Queen, to The Shadows Between Us. I love them. I absolutely adored them, and that's also the reason why I really needed to get this one, read it, and adore it, because at that point, you just expect it. That said, I was a little bit hesitant about this one, due to the fact that there was quite a couple of people who said, okay, this is not the best book. Let me state that I don't think this is my favorite from the ones that Tricia Levenseller wrote. However, I loved it. That's probably also because I was very surprised by it, which is all my own fault, so to say, because I usually read a synopsis once, think, okay, this is interesting, this goes on my TBR, and then I see a cover and I'm like, I want something warrior-ish. Okay, Warrior of the Wild, I'll read it. And it is completely different from what I have imagined. If I would have reread the synopsis, so to say, I wouldn't be as surprised, which, don't do that. Just go in not knowing too much. It's a lot more fun. That said, I loved the way that the relationships were shaped in this one. You think one thing when you start the book, and then soon on realize, okay, this is the entire way around, and what was the protagonist's name again? Rajmira, that was what it was. I was thinking Roz, but that was one of her nicknames, so I was a little bit confused. But Rajmira, basically, her entire life is turned upside down, and she has to do the impossible and also figure out how to stay alive in between that point. And she meets new people. You see a lot of nature, which is something I love in books. I love naturey, woodsy, mountainy, snowy books, deserty. I just love nature in books, and this has a lot of that. I also love that Rajmira is not afraid to say what she thinks and stand for what she believes in. That's, I think, something that Tricia Levenseller does really well in her books. She really is the master of creating strong female protagonists, and I can enjoy that a lot. I don't need the, oh, I'm a damsel in distress. No, we need strong, powerful women. And if you are thinking of picking it up, but if you aren't sure, pick it up. You will love it. Okay, so those were all of the books that I read in August. Pretty good reading month for me. I also enjoyed most of the books, which is also very good. I'm really excited. I am getting back into the swing of things, really reading a lot. Also, I am nearing my goal of 80 books in a year. I actually want to go up to 100, but considering university's gonna start soon, I'm not sure I can do 20 books in the remainder of the year, but we're gonna attempt it anyway. But, you know, I'm just very excited. That said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to our channel and press that little bell icon so that you post notifications every single time that I or Femke posts. And please let me know which books you have read in August. I would love to know. Have you read any of the books on my TBR? No? On my wrap-up? Or are you planning to read some of them? And with that, I hope to be seeing you guys the next time. Bye!